Now, when we say another engine would be, between $300 and $500, we're talking about an eBay engine.
What's going on, guys? Chaseontwowheels here for day 4 of our CBR 300 build. You guys can see right here on the last episode, we'll put a link down below in case you haven't seen it. We removed this engine from CBR 300, it's not even in here. But in today's episode, we are going to be busting this engine open because if you guys don't know, when we picked the bike up, guy got stranded on the highway, engine blew up. So should be some pretty interesting stuff inside of this engine. We removed the oil, had like multiple different types of metal, right? Well, I just noticed that.
There it is.
The little hand is back.
I found it.
So, in today's video, we're going to be busting this thing open and finding out exactly what went wrong with the engine.
Hopefully.
Well, yes, hopefully.
Sometimes you get some clues, but you don't get a definitive what the issue was, so.
Hopefully we find out. Also, before we get into this, you guys know what we got to do.
Every time.
Is that your ankle?
Yup. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go over here for a second. Holy fuck.
Nice.
Alright.
Wait, what broke? Why is there metal? Why is there metal flying at me? You're throwing metal at me. My lift's trying to take me down. The camera's falling. My chair's tipping over. Today's it's one of those days, but if you guys don't know, this is Wreck Bike Rebuild Garage. We build motorcycles, we take wreck bikes, turn them into dream bikes, we give them away. The only reason we're able to do that is because we have amazing Patreon people, and if you guys want to be in the first 1,000 people that are helping us make this show possible, then check out the top link down below. It will take you to patreon.com/chaseontwowheels. You can support the show, help us make this content, and all the other content we make. You can also get a chance to win the motorcycle. So, any of you guys that support, thank you so much. I'm now gonna take this camera away and we're gonna get to work. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the valve covers. The only reason I know what a valve cover is because Brian spent 35 minutes telling me what a valve cover is, a cylinder head is, a cylinder is, and a crankcase is. You guys can see I have notes. I even wrote the notes wrong. Also, this thing is an engine, not a motor. An engine goes boom, a motor, pretend there's no, yes,
goes zoom.
Pretend there's notes. Engine go boom, motor go zoom. Motor electric engine combustion. Also, since you're down in the comments saying if you know what an engine or a motor is, let us know if you have ever disassembled a motor or engine yourself, because I want to know what level of people are watching this show. I'm in the never done that on my own category. Brian, you've obviously taken apart. Luke, where are you at? No? Bo, have you ever taken a motor or engine apart?
Parts of it.
Yes and no, you know what I'm saying? All right, this is Brian is the only one that's really done this before. Let us begin. Brian, first step.
Step 1 is we are going to set the engine to top dead center.
Top dead center, boy. Okay, here we go. All right, guys, so
Sports. Mountain engine sports.
okay, so guys, we got the valve cover off. We've got the engine set to top dead center. The way you know that is you turn it here. There's a little T. Hold on, let me make sure you guys can see little T. There's no way you can see little T. Oh, there it is. There's little T. Hold on, let me get manual. Look, little T. If that little T is lined up with this marker, that means that the engine, the engine is in top dead center. By the way, just to be clear, I don't know all this stuff. Brian's telling me how to do this stuff and I'm translating it to you guys. So I'm not trying to act like I know this shit. But these lines also have to be horizontal with the top of the cylinder head. If they're not, what happens if Joe Schmo put it at top dead center and then those lines don't match up? What do you do then?
So, well, if these lines don't match up, then you turn the engine another 360 degrees.
Right.
And then you should line it up.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's not like catastrophic, oh no, my stuff's messed up.
Not when you're taking it apart, but if you put it together and all that stuff is wrong, you're in trouble.
That's another story. Okay. Next step, we are going to remove the cam chain tensioner and the hardware that holds the valve caps.
Yes.
So that's our next thing to do, next step in the engine removal process. Okay, remember people, valve cover, cylinder head, cylinder crankcase, engine go boom. Okay.
Let her go, boom.
Stuff gets fun. Once you get beyond the cylinder head, it's when stuff gets interesting.
We all have different definitions of fun, Brian. All right, guys, so we have removed, let me get all my words right, the cam chain tensioner, the cam caps, and the cam shafts. You guys can see there's nothing here now. Brian has told me to remove the cylinder head. We have to remove 4 main bolts as well as these 2 small bolts, starting at the small bolts.
You got it.
All verbiage correct and everything.
Correct, you got it right.
All right, I'm trying to work through this really slow because I do want to retain this knowledge and I need to stop calling this thing a motor. So, that is what we're gonna do now. But before we go, we inspected the camshafts and there's a small little wear line right there. That was the main thing we found, right?
Yep.
Was the little wear line?
Yep, there's a little bit of wear on the cams, that's it.
Right there. I don't know if, hold on, let me make sure that you guys can see this. Yeah, so this guy right here, that little white line, oh not white, but it should look like this. It looks like this. Okay, that's it. Moving on to cylinder head removal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you guys can see, we have the cylinder head removed. We've got the cylinder here, and Brian, you want to do a brief synopsis on what we found in there?
Sure. So now that we have the cylinder head off, we can see that the piston is a little bit wet. So there's definitely, you could see kind of the grime that's in here. That shouldn't be there. At least not with the oil in here, making it wet so it comes back off. So there was oil making its way into the combustion chamber, which should not be.
Now that we've removed...
Now we have the head off. We have the piston exposed. We could take this off right now, but then the piston would still be connected to the connecting rod and it would kind of just be flopping around.
Right.
So now that we're at this point, we're going to go ahead and remove the left and right engine covers and then all of the accessory bits that are underneath each one of these covers that are attached to the engine cases.
Nobody likes the floppy piston.
Nobody
What he
likes
said.
a floppy piston.
Hashtag nobody likes a floppy piston. Okay, so on to next step. All right, guys, checking back in. Lots have happened since we last spoke. Here's what the table looks like. Brian has never been more excited than I've ever seen him in all the years we have worked together. Basically, you guys have probably saw the B-roll. We can cut it in right here. There was the first filter for the engine that...
Right, we took off the oil filter cap.
Right.
And this was filled with shinies. And then we removed the filter, and this thing is packed with shiny.
Y'all check this out, hold on. So, if you can see right there, you can kind of see in between the things. Now rotate it, because there's a side, there's a section where it's literally filled. Now keep going this way.
Ugh.
Yeah.
She nasty.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, look at that. You can't even see in between here.
Show Luke's art project.
You know, we're a bunch of grown men, so, oh, you got it right behind me. Perfect. How convenient. This is the particulate that came out of the
second filter.
The second filter in the motor. You'll have to wait for a good rotation. That material was sitting in the bottom of this CBR 300.
Ugh.
I think we all know here, Brian, like we all know Brian has a large amount of experience with motors and stuff. Brian himself has never seen so much material in an engine.
No, not that much. Not an engine that was running.
Yeah.
You know, this thing still ran. But I have never seen this much clutch material come out of an engine that still ran.
Well, like we removed the entire, what side is this? Left?
So we did both sides.
Yeah.
We took the clutch cover off.
Right.
The clutch basket.
Clutch
the oil
cover,
pump,
basket.
all the idler gears, and then on this side, we removed the stator cover, the starter, and the starter idler gear have been removed. Unfortunately, we do not have the correct puller for the flywheel, but we can get the rest of this engine apart without taking the flywheel off. It'll just be stuck on the crank for now.
Right. When we took that off, do you have that? Is this the piece of metal that was in it? Like this thing?
One of them. That's similar.
I don't know if you guys can even see this. It's a giant piece of metal for where it was. It was just sitting on the inside of here. So
more glitter inside this engine than every.
yeah,
ship
this
in Atlanta.
like we knew the engine blew up, but before we took the engine apart, we ran this engine right outside, and it was fine.
I don't know if I can
Not
say it was
fine, but like it was running,
It ran.
and yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
it ran.
It's insane that this thing was actually running to this point. So, at this point, what's our next move now?
So from here, we are going to remove the cylinder.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to remove the detent from the shift drum for the transmission. Then we can loosen all of the hardware for the crankcase, and then we'll be able to split the two halves.
That'll be the dun dun dun.
And that'll be pretty much a full disassembly of the engine. Yeah. hit it, and hopefully I'll be able to. Whoa!
That shouldn't happen.
There's not supposed to be any in and out play here. I can't wait.
You guys are gonna have to. I gotta apologize to you guys. We are, I'm trying to help out and do this situation. So my hands, I've gone through like 15 pairs of gloves. I can only touch this camera so much. I'm not gonna get oil all over it and ruin my camera. So I'm trying to update you guys as much as I can. I apologize to not keep you guys updated. Also, Bo, I apologize to you for having to edit this video. Okay, we are going to continue on.
You're not sorry.
I'm not. All right, guys, so slight little update. Brian is heading to Mountain because we need a flywheel puller.
Yes.
The only thing stopping us is getting the flywheel removed, and Brian says there's a couple bolts that's got to have a specialty tool to get it open. That's the only thing right now stopping us from splitting the case. And at that point, we will have a really good idea of what the hell is being ripped apart in this engine. So we're almost there. We gotta wait for Brian to get back though. Everybody, don't worry. Brian made it back. Where's the tool, Brian?
Right here.
Okay. Oh, that's the puller?
Yes.
Sweet. Thank you, Mountain Motorsports. What bolts could you not get to, Brian?
These two right here.
So guys, those are the ones we had to get this entire tool to get the flywheel off. And that we just have to take where are you? These two out. And then we can split the cases.
Oh, what's this little guy right here?
If you pull a gerbil out of there.
What are you doing, little feller?
Just so you guys are up to date, we have the engine torn apart, and Brian is literally just fishing things out at this point and creating a giant pile of death and destruction. So while Brian continues to pull out pieces of everything at this point out of the crevices. We think we have found where the metal came from. Clearly, is this a washer or what's the word for that?
Yeah, it would be a thrust washer.
And those go here?
On either side of the crank, in between the crank and the engine cases, up against this flat here on both sides.
Right. So both of those were just in pieces, as you guys can see here. There's also needle bearings, is that what you call them?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you guys notice, you can see little bearings in the back of here. Those should be all the way around. All of that open space right here are where needle bearings were, got dislodged somehow, and just got eaten alive by this engine. Brian, as far as...
Hold that right there for me, please.
Shit.
Right there. Hold that right there. Down a little lower right there. Thank you.
Let me bring the YouTube people over. Oh no, Brian. Oh no. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're like me and don't know what we're looking at, that should not look like that.
It looks like f***ing bismuth, man. Like you get these crystalline structures just hanging up on the side. Oh. Why?
That's just metal, guys. That's literally just metal. Look right there. Exactly. Exactly. So for you guys that don't know, Brian, you said this comes as, when you order the
piston is separate, but the crankshaft comes with the connecting rod attached.
Connecting rod, crankshaft. Okay. So this is a order new of these type situation.
Yep.
You said replace all the bearings.
Every bearing.
Just for safety at this point.
Yep.
Okay. You said that the
cylinder head
caps are
it would be the whole cylinder head, because the caps are
come
like
with it.
They're machined with the rest of the head, so you can't get one without the other.
So we're looking at replacing the cylinder head.
Cylinder head, cylinder, piston, crankshaft, all the gaskets, all the bearings, oil pump.
This is starting to sound like we're replacing the engine.
Well, that's a good point.
That's pretty much what I thought we were. Actually, I didn't even think the engine cases were going to live originally. So
if you guys are watching this YouTube video and wondering to yourself, why the hell would we not get just a used CBR 300 engine?
What if that one's blown up?
Huh?
What if that one's got danger metal on it?
Well, true. So if we were in a situation where we were just trying to rebuild the motorcycle, that is most definitely the most cost-effective way to do that. Here at Wreck Bike Rebuild, the reason we take on certain bikes is so we can take our followers and our Patreon people along the process and teach people how to do this. We look at this as a learning opportunity. This is not the way you would go. We're not saving money by doing this. CBR 300 engine price list, $1 million. Something we're gonna make sure we do with this, because I'm pretty interested in, is we're gonna make sure we have a price breakdown. We're gonna do this for all 3 CBRs that we're doing this season. But it'll be interesting to see how much it costs to fix this engine back up. So, Brian, what's the takeaway from disassembly of the engine? Like, what's final thoughts for the people over on the tube?
if you want to learn how to rebuild an engine, don't expect it to be cost effective. It's more of a learning process.
Okay, so we're eating the cost so that we can teach people how to do this.
You got it.
It's pretty obvious. We have a lot of engine content, engine rebuilding stuff we are going to be doing. That's it for this engine teardown. Am I right?
Yep.
Are we doing transmission rebuild next?
I don't know. We'll have to discuss that, I guess.
Okay. So I don't know what the next video is going to be. It'll have something.
There's not much of a video to go through and watch us clean everything.
So whatever the next video ends up being, you guys will see here on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you like all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you on the next one. Fingers crossed that this goes well. Okay.
I'm gonna take a picture of this pile of metal that was in that filter and send it to little Brian too. He'll
There's gold
So, guys-
in there, you know.
No lie, I have never seen Brian giggle so much.
Like, dude.
It was hilarious.
Outro crew, do you think we should rebuild it or replace it?
There you go. Outro crew, you can let us know down below if we should rebuild or replace this engine. We're clearly gonna do one of them, but hey, we like hearing your opinions, okay? Goodbye.